Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this program, Our Moments with God. And as I had told you the other day, I would like to repeat in the beginning of the program the words of St. Augustine. O God, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they rest in thee. And through these videos, I am trying to awaken the restlessness in our hearts, which can then be awakened to the presence of God and go closer to God, find a relationship with Him, and eventually even friendship with Him. And if you like the video, you may please subscribe to the channel and also subscribe and share it with others. Thank you. And today you see, I am sitting here as if about to eat. Why? Because today the gospel is about Jesus visiting the house of Martha and Mary, where he is invited for a meal. And these are some of the items already for a meal, but there may be more coming. But this is just a kind of a setting and imagination of how Jesus is being treated. And you know the gospel that Martha was very busy preparing for the dinner for Jesus, but her sister Mary, she decided to go and probably as an act of being a good host, she went and sat and was listening to what Jesus was saying. But Martha got a bit irritated. And then she told Jesus, Lord, don't you see that Mary is very comfortably sitting at your feet and listening to you, and she has left all the work on me? I must do all the work, and she's nicely enjoying your company and will later enjoy the meal. Can't you ask her to also help me out? And Jesus very coolly and calmly tells her, Martha, Martha, you worry about too many things and busy yourself with too many things. But only one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen the better part. What is the part that Mary had chosen? To enjoy herself? Yes, it was a kind of enjoyment. She was enjoying the company of Jesus, not probably with lots of jokes and gossip, but some deeper truths that Jesus was telling her, either about herself or about his Father in heaven, about forgiveness, about love, about mercy, about being good to others. I imagine that this is the type of conversation they were having. But Mary was busy listening. But do you know there is a difference between hearing and listening? Yes, I'm sure you have paid attention to this fact of hearing. Hearing is something that happens through our physical ears, and our mind, our soul, our other senses are not involved. Our other senses like eyes, like our lips, like smile, and other senses are not involved. Whereas listening involves all these senses. You can also listen through your eyes. You can also listen through your smile. You can also listen to how you project your body towards the person who is speaking. Therefore, I jotted down a few things about the various types of listening. And lest I forget, I have jotted them down on a piece of paper. And they are like this. They can be divided into different types of listening. Active listening, where you are really actively listening to the person who's speaking, like I think Mary was doing. Then there is passive listening. Passive listening is, yes, you may be listening, you may not be listening, you are rather passive. I'm not saying you are disinterested. There is another kind of listening which is called disinterested listening. Means actually you're not at all interested in what the other person is saying. You actually, when somebody is talking, you go put your hand in your pocket, take out your mobile and start looking at what the messages you have received. That is totally disinterested listening to the person, what he's saying. Then there can be dialogical listening. That means you are listening and you want to engage in dialogue with the person who is speaking to you. Then there can be informative listening, where you are gathering a lot of information like politics or like what is happening in the world, floods and storms and things like that. So that is kind of informative listening. Then there can be reflective listening, yeah, how it is helping you. Then there can be workplace listening. Workplace listening is what we normally do at the workplace. Then, do you know there is another interesting type of listening called reactive listening? What is a reactive listening? Reactive listening is you are just waiting to react to the person who is talking to you. You're not paying attention to what the person is saying. You have already prepared an answer in your mind how you're going to react. You may react angrily, you may react passively, but your listening is not so much interested in what the person is saying, but waiting to react. So these are different kinds of listening. But then there is another level of listening which I am imagining Mary must have engaged herself with. What kind of listening could that be? I am imagining that there are other types of listening when we engage with God or with something more serious. That is, for example, can be prayerful listening. You are in a disposition of prayer and that kind of prayerful listening. Then you can have spiritual listening. You are interested in more in your spiritual well-being. Then there can be loving listening. You are listening not just for the sake of listening or hearing, but your emotions of love are awakened and you want to really be helping out the person. Then there can be contemplative listening. And I'm sure it is these last types of listening which Mary was engaged in. Contemplative listening, prayerful listening to Jesus. What exactly is Jesus telling her and how it is going to affect her life, how she can change her life. Because God is constantly speaking to us. He is interested in conversing with us, in engaging with us. Are we equally interested in listening to God? And how well do we want to listen to God? And if you have already developed a good skill of listening, I wish you all the very best. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do it now. Thank you.